Saturday was certainly a beautiful day, and David Burke took the stage at Scott Lebato's rally. Frankie and I were there. But master chef, master restaurateur David Burke had some really wise words to say. Take a look at this from the big Save the Ship rally on Saturday.
If his restaurants ever reopen for indoor dining, you can do three things. One, you should treat yourself and go because they're absolutely phenomenal. Two, you want to make sure you have pants with an elastic waist. And three, you want to ideally bring someone else who will pay because they can be a bit pricey. Let me welcome my friend, one of the most famous chefs in America, David Burke.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you. Good afternoon. And I love New York. And I was reminded of that sign when I came through the Holland Tunnel today. So thank you for coming. I want to thank my staff, my partners, my landlords, all for dealing with this over the last few months, working hard together to come up with solutions to try and stay in business. We fed over 125,000 people out of small kitchens. The hospitals, the first responders, hospital employees, homeless shelters, restaurant employees we've been feeding, trying to get people back to work. Early on, my team set up a platform called Feed the Heroes that helped raise money for restaurant employees and put people back to work. My grandparents are from Brooklyn. My other set of grandparents are from Ireland. My parents are from Brooklyn. I was born in Brooklyn. My kids were born in Dumbo before it was called Dumbo. And, you know, back when I grew up on the Jersey Shore and when I decided to be a chef in the 70s, the place to be was New York. The place to learn was New York. I came to New York as a teenager to go to concerts and ball games and see the Empire State Building and to enjoy the Times Square back then when it was fun. And when I decided to be a chef, the place to go was New York City. New York had the best of everything, the best restaurants, the best chefs, the best restaurateurs, the best in any industry. The leaders were all in New York, and you came here to earn your stripes. Sadly, right now, the Empire State Building is crying, and the city is dying. The restaurant industry is dying, and there's just no solution. There's no solution in sight. I came here in 1984. I've been working 37 years in the restaurant industry, and my restaurants are now closed. I have no decision in that. Outdoor dining does not work. Outdoor dining will be over in a few weeks, even for those that do work. The delivery business is not meant for restaurants like mine. And when I grew up, if you love something like you love New York and you love the restaurant business, you fight for it. So we need to start to fight. We need to get some answers. Before COVID, several years ago, New York City was baked into it wasn't a sheet cake. It was COVID is the icing on the cake, and it's not. People have been going out of business pre-COVID with the laws that have been changed that are anti-small business in New York City. This is a cry for help for me. This is not a political stance for me. This is a cry for help for the restaurant business to try and get some solutions and some answers as to why we are not able to open indoors. The Hospitality Alliance in New York City, I want to thank them for suing or attempting to sue the city for the restaurant industry. They brought this up this week. David Burke Tavern on the Upper East Side closed after that news that we have no idea, nor is there anything on the table for de Blasio to speak about indoor dining in the near term, his words. They're not discussing it in the near term. I don't know what the near term means. It sounds like I don't know what to tell my landlord, my employees. I don't know what to do about my own business. Do I move back to Jersey? We have some thriving restaurants, outdoor dining in Jersey. But that'll end soon, too, if we don't get back to work. I'm confused also about why you can eat in Long Island in an indoor restaurant, Westchester, Saratoga, Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C. Everywhere else you can eat indoors, but not New York City or New Jersey. I don't know if they breathe differently in the Hamptons than they do in New York City. Why is that? Anyway, I've always been, people have told me that I'm the ultimate optimist, and I have been. And I use the words fineo, which is failure is not an option often. And I will fight to stay alive in New York City. I don't want to leave New York City. There will be a point where we can't afford it. But anyway, there's something I want to read to you. And it's something I read often and to remind me to fight in this business, because it's a tough business. It's called The Man in the Arena. And for today, I will call it The Man in the Arena, but it's for everybody in the arena, men, women, and everybody that works in this industry. And it's called The Man in the Arena. And it is not the critic who counts. It's not the man who points out how strong the man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, and who strives valiantly, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who have never known neither victory nor defeat. And this is for all the restaurant employees and small business owners in New York to start to stand strong and keep the faith, because we shall get through this, we hope. You know, New York, New York, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, but we do need help. It's not a one-man show. You know, there's also, in the 60s, you know, so at home when I was quarantined, I started cooking at home, and I created a sous chef puppet. And we got pretty famous. And we listened to a lot of good rock and roll during those. And there's a song out there by Simon and Garfunkel called Mrs. Robinson. And one of the great lines, looking out to a hero in tough times, was, "Where have you gone, Joe DiMaggio? This nation turns its lonely eyes to you." And that's what we need in New York right now. We need some heroes at the top. We need some heroes at the top that we can turn to for help, and that's what we're asking for. So where have you gone, New York City? Where have you gone, the great mayors of the past? This city turns its lonely eyes to you. Please come and help us. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right, that's Master Chef, Master Restauranteur David Burke at the rally this weekend. We got to stick up for these restaurants. Just must do something. Hopefully we'll get Lou Gelomino and Mark Fonte, the attorneys for the local New York organization I Roar, on here, talk about their lawsuit. We'll take a break, come back right after this with more Liquid Lunch.